Conciseness. Now that's something sometimes I have a problem with. 42 looks like a high number, but they want you to be around 30%. And they do this by um, just looking at professional speeches all the time. That's how they get to the proper numbers. So there is analytics behind it. And what I love about it is it doesn't just say, oh, you spoke too much. It gives you a sample rephrasing. So Cece, right over here, so this is actually me. Cece, she really isn't giving you a lot of information, even though she knows introverted people. She's really not carrying the conversation. She's leaving it up to you. So let's stop this. Okay. So the computer told me I was a little too, um,
Wordy.
yeah, thank you, Joseph, wordy. And and it corrected me.
Did
Cece,
they even give an analyst to your comment here?
absolutely. I need analytics, even though I'm a public speaking coach and clarity coach. Cece, she knows introverted people, but she's not giving you much or carrying the conversation. It's all on you. Let's just stop this, okay? And that made it shorter, more concise, and you know, really enjoyable. So just wanted to show you that this is available to you. It's available to all of you. This role play is fabulous. If you have a presentation to give to a person, a client, or someone in upper management, you can practice and get more confident with it. Again, no judgments, no judgment zone. And if you're in one of my programs, you can share it and you can get feedback from me. But so I just wanted to share that with you because it's a great tech tool. And then we will, I'm just going to close this out and then stop the share actually. And
So if you don't mind, Linda, what I'd love to do is just I really want to like highlight this because it's extremely important. It segues so well from our first part that we had on this, and even to highlight what we've done in between, because we actually invited some people to do what we called a clarity sprint over
right.
the last month, right? It was just 30 minutes each week on a Thursday. And for me, I think that practice is everything, precision is everything, and then also operating under a little bit of pressure, which Cece, if you felt that, which I felt like I heard you feeling during that demonstration, the reserved nature of your guest created a little bit of pressure. And the best time that we could be practicing is when we're creating that pressure and we're not under pressure, right? So I just wanted to highlight that pressure doesn't expose weakness, it exposes preparation. And so if we're practicing together and we're making this fun and we're starting to build this habit into our day-to-day or week-to-week lives, we're going to show up with so much more powerful questions. And we're going to move to these more precise questions and have better dialogue. Cece, I know I was on your podcast and you had so many questions for me. So this also can be a fantastic way to get ready for a presentation, to really start to understand the timing, how many questions you can actually ask within a certain period of time. And again, it's so versatile, Linda, that I think we're even as AOD understanding how customized this can actually become, that you can actually save different formats in it, CC, so you could have your podcast show. You can have one for interviews if you're interviewing people to join your organization. It's so versatile. And it's such a gift that we have the ability to practice like this. And that we can also come together each week to support one another. And I think that'll be one of the things that we talk about at the end of this, Linda. But I did want to just really, really hone in on how valuable this tool has become for myself and my team.
Thank you, Joseph. But Cece, I also want to share with the folks on the webinar today a little bit more about your podcast so they can join your podcast. I believe it's every other week.
Thank
Um,
you. Yes.
but if you want, can we drop a little link in here for Cece? Jess, do you have Cece's link or Okay. All right, Cece, we will get that link in our chat. Let me see. Oh, there's our chat. Okay. Okay, we need to drop Cece's link in so everybody can join her webinar. And I think she's got a YouTube channel now as well, right,
Yes,
Cece?
yes. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's fabulous. Okay, just tell everybody the name of it, and then we will make sure we drop the link in before we leave.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, for the opportunity. So the podcast name is Coffee with CC. It's on YouTube. Thank you.
Coffee with Cece. All right, fabulous. Thank you so much, Cece, for being a volunteer. You are courageous and a wonderful energy. Thank you for jumping in.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Joseph, let's continue on. That was wonderful. What an exciting moment for her. I hope that comes across to the group as we wanted it to show you how we can use this tool and how we can just play with it. I heard one gentleman tell me recently that if you're in the video game generation, it's like playing a video game. I come from a generation that we didn't have video games, and thank you for dropping that, Jess. Coffee with Cece. But you know, if it is like just playing a video game, but it's teaching you and it's helping you become more clear, more confident, and even revising the way you say things. It's a wonderful AI tool, and you can work with me through Be Understood and Udly, and you can check out some of my offerings at the end. And Joe will have some offerings as well. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more meat here, Joe. So we are starting to, I mean, that did take a little bit longer, but it was so much fun. I hope
Hmm.
you got the importance of it. Joe, you and I played with some prompts. We played with some prompts. How do we, because this is a tech kind of themed webinar where you can actually make your speaking into finance more clearly. So, Joe, do you want to talk about some of the prompts that we came up with? And these are just suggestions for you. And you're probably all using ChatGPT by now, right? But it really does work better if you prompt it better. And so, Joe, would you like to start with a few of the prompts we came up with? And maybe people can take some notes on this.
Yes. Um, to start here, we can actually what the first prompt that we looked at was rewriting proposals in three different types of formats, right? So when you think about how you write a proposal, you might need to present it first to your team before you actually present it to the client, right? So you actually will be presenting to your team a little bit differently than the way that you actually present it to the executives at the table, right? So you can actually ask Zoom to rewrite the proposal right up front, so that there's the executive summary, there's a team brief, and then there's an analyst detail. This way you're covering all the fronts all at once, and it's easier to disseminate throughout the team versus having to craft it, rewrite it, craft it again, rewrite it again for these different audiences. So that's our first tip is yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and I have a question because I'm not in finance, but wouldn't that make sense to have all three prepared because you don't know what you're facing? Like you come into a room and all of a sudden someone says, you know, I know we planned 30 minutes, but I only have 10,
Mhm.
right? Then it helps you to pivot, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you just bring up this is a whole another this is the beauty of the technology and the world that we're in is you could go from 3 formats to 9 formats, right? You could go from 9 formats to 20 different formats, all depending on who your audiences are, who you're speaking to. I've seen pastors at churches who have to write recommendation letters to 100 of their congregation, 100, let's say, youth, and they're able to take a Excel spreadsheet with a little blurb on what makes that person unique and incredible, and they can actually dish out all 100 of those recommendations within minutes through technology. So I just want to like highlight how incredible technology can be for things that take a really long time to do individually, and it'll actually prompt and create these in a customized way that might even sound, it'll still sound like you, especially if you're utilizing the AI for a while, but it'll customize it to the person that you want to speak to.
So you want to be asking it to be as clear as possible, all right, so that the clarity comes across, right? Okay, because the clarity means two things: clarity in the numbers you're delivering and the clarity in your speech. So we're using clarity here two different ways. We're not just using it in the speech way, which is, Joe and I kind of tease that I'm the speech geek and he's the finance geek. But so you want to be clarifying the speech geek part of it, making sure it is clear and understandable and intelligible. And Joe wants you to be clear in the numbers you're delivering because it could be losing you massive amounts of money. So,
Yes.
okay.
I do want to highlight really quick that a lot of the AI that's out there, it's not going to do math as well as a human being. It might even mix up dates. So it might think that Thursday is a day after or a day before. So really doing a quality check on the math that matters is going to be really important. You really, it's really, I found really strong in imagination. It's really strong in creating words that are clear and concise and precise. But sometimes it needs to be double checked on some of the math. So from a financial standpoint, I would just be highlighting that as well.
Okay, fabulous. So, any others you choose to share, or just the general concept of using the Chat GPT in coming up with their clear message, then putting those into something like Udly, and then practicing how your speech is coming out. What do you think, Joe?
I've used this post conversation with someone. So what I also just want to highlight, Linda, is that it could be fantastic to optimize after a conversation with someone. If you have a transcript and you're able to upload it to AI can really kind of like go through and identify some areas that were really strong points, some areas that you could have stepped into and leaned into better. I've done this with team members of mine who have presented on stages or presented in front of the client without me being in the room. And it allows me to really coach them up in a way that it's not just coming from me, right? Because I do think that sometimes when we have managers or you're facilitating constructive feedback, having it sourced through AI almost creates a more of a safe space in order to deliver that constructive feedback.
I love it. I love it. So, folks, this is really a way to combine technology into getting your point across, landing the deal, making a step closer to a deal. You remember to use that pitch and pacing and pausing, get
Hmm.
comfortable with that pause. There were a few filler words in there, and some filler words are okay. You've heard me say that before. If you've been on my podcast, not my podcast, that's because Cece has a podcast, on my webinars before. But there are some filler words like and ah that just kind of, just even the word kind of is a filler word. But where you need to draw the line. So if someone says you shouldn't use filler words, that is not my belief. Filler words are a natural part of speech, and they can be better if you start embracing more of the pause
Hmm.
and the power of the pause and getting comfortable with that silence in a pause, because some people feel like they have to fill the space. So be willing to pause almost to an uncomfortable point. Now, for those of you who are still translating in their brain, use that pause to translate, to get your thoughts together, to then continue the conversation. Because I have a lot of non-native English speakers that are still translating, and that's very important for them to grab that pause and hold on to it. I actually laughed when I said something before, and people might not have realized that I laughed, but Joe and I came up with a few phrases that would weaken your authority. And there's one that I do a lot. And I don't know why, but I am going to take my own advice here. So one of the things I did say in this webinar, and is something I've asked you guys not to say, is um, does that make sense? When I say, does that make sense? I think I'm asking for clarity, but really it's making me sound not clear. So a better way to say that is, let me know if you'd like more detail. Let me know if you'd like more detail. So I've learned something on my own webinar today, and I better stop saying podcast, or this is going to become a podcast. But so Joe and I are just going to share some of these phrases that weaken your authority, and think about those. If you're adding these into your conversations, it is making you sound less confident. If you're less confident, you're less likely to get the promotion. If you're less confident, you're less likely to sign the deals and make more money. So let's just share a few that we came up with, Joseph, if you'd like to. Okay. And these are what you don't want to say.
Yes, you definitely would not want to say, I'm not an expert, but
That would be wild. What would you say, Joseph?
I would say from my experience,
Right.
because
Actually,
and
act,
I actually was on a conversation with a gentleman this past week, and he did mention that, but he actually stepped back and said, you know what? I actually am an expert in these things. I just hold myself to such a high standard. I consider myself not an expert. So not only is it weakening your authority, you actually might have more experience than the general public in that area, regardless.
right. I'm going to just take a short break here in case anybody has to jump off. For my team, can you drop in the chat my QR code that will give you options on how you can interact with me post webinar? And we are putting it in the form of a QR code so that you can just take a photograph of that QR code and, open it whenever you want to. It has two different offerings that are both free, and a little synopsis of my offerings. And then we're going to drop Joe's in about AOD Resource Group, which is him helping people build businesses in addition to everything else he does. And so we're going to drop those in the chat, and then we're just going to continue with a few of these and wind this up. Does anybody else have any questions, from the audience? Oh, wow, that's beautiful. I love it. We've got Be Understoods. That's me, my company, and with AOD. Look at that. Be Understoods, QR code, AOD resources, QR code, and Coffee with Cece's QR code. Wow, that is fabulous, team. I love it. Beautiful. Okay. So, if you need that popped up at the end, please just raise your hand and we'll do that again. Team, that looks beautiful. All right. So, what about saying, you know, uh, the kind of sort of maybe that's like casual conversation, and we use that in American English, and we do sound very, very natural when we say kind of, sort of, maybe, but you don't want to use this in a financial presentation. Say the data shows this. Okay. Cece, you're in finance, so does that make sense? I said, does that make sense again? Oh my gosh. Let me know if you'd like more detail, Cece. Actually,
How does that
does
resonate?
that resonate with you,
Oh yeah,
Cece?
100%, 100%.
Okay, great. Any other ones you feel are worth sharing, Joseph?
I think a lot of times we use try or we'll use just.
Right.
And try and just, like I'm just a financial advisor, or I'll try to accomplish this.
Right.
They can really erode confidence. And somebody who is an action taker is going to hear that, and their immediate thought is going to be, I don't want you to try. And you're not just this, you're so much more, right? So transitioning that to, I'll make sure I accomplish this, or just removing that just phrase can be so helpful to enhancing the way that you're heard by another individual.
That really resonates with me, Joe, really does. And um, because of the time, I think that we're going to skip a little bit ahead right now. Um, and I'd like to open this up to the group to ask, what is your takeaway from today? And it could be Cece, it could be another volunteer, but what did you learn that you think that you could apply immediately? Is there anything here that you think you could apply immediately?
I can volunteer, Linda, if that is okay. Uh,
Sure, Cece.
yeah, I think the immediate I think the benefits I can implement is just work with the elderly. I really learn from this AI coach. I think the insight that he provided is makes is totally makes sense. It totally makes sense for me, and it's really and it helped me to improve faster. Yeah, thank
Mm.
you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you, Cece. Anybody else? I see there's Jess in the room, there's Stephanie in the room. Anything that you feel that you can walk away with and take with you? It's okay if you're shy and don't want to jump on. Okay. Well, then I think that we will talk about where in your week? Oh, do you just one other question. Do you see you using, and just give me a thumbs up, do you see yourself using some of these prompts or at least getting, more comfortable with using prompts? Can we get some thumbs up? All right, we got a thumb up. Anybody else? All right, great. We're getting a bunch of thumbs up. 3, 4. All right, super. Just want to make sure you've got some really good takeaways. And remember that we are the third Thursday of the month for our webinar. So on the third Thursday of July, we will have yet another webinar. Okay, so let's see what else. So call to actions, Joseph. Talk about your how Wednesdays.
Sure. So How Wednesday is where we actually ask the how. I think a lot of us are grounded in our why. We know why we're doing something, but we might get stuck in the how. And the how step is such an important question to ask that I've actually opened up a window of time once a week for us all to come together and really explore that how of how are we getting this done? Are we using all the resources that are at our disposal? Are there other resources we should be aware of? This way we can truly get unstuck from where we are in business and move towards where we need to go.
So Joe, as I understand it, it's a free group and you get to meet other wonderful business leaders. Am I correct?
Yeah, imagine a boardroom filled with business leaders because as we rise through the rank and the file, it starts to get more lonely around where are we going? How are we making decisions? And we can't just ask other teammates around us because they might not be thinking as forward thinking as we need them to be. So this is really an opportunity for thought leaders to come together to find solutions, locking arm in arm.
Joseph, some of my favorite and best followers are non-native English speakers. Can
Mm.
you explain what rank and file is?
Sure.
It's an idiomatic expression I'm not sure everybody would understand. So can you
No
explain
worries.
what that is?
My experience and understanding of it is that it's a military term. Rank and file would be you're lining up based on your rank. In the military, your first couple of years are going to be a certain rank, but as you move up that rank and file, there's less and less individuals who are a part of that. And so that's what we're really talking about here is as you move up the corporate ladder, or as you become a business owner yourself, you're going to want to surround yourself with really important thought leaders. And so before I say any more idiomatic expressions, I'll definitely pass it
I
back.
actually was going to say as you move up the ladder, and that's the same, it's an idiomatic expression, which is figurative language, but it's as you rise in your position and
That's right.
less and less people at your level, really. That was fun. That was fun. And for me, team, can you just put up that those QR codes one more time so you can follow Cece's podcast? You can jump in on Joe's How Wednesdays and you can see how to get a free consult. Excuse me, speech clarity consultation with me, or even a little AI speech assessment. So if you can put that up again, team, I would love it. And thank you all for coming. We hope you had a great time, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next third Thursday. And here you go. Take a picture of all three, or each individually, or whomever you would like to learn more about. All right. Thank you so much. I'll just leave that up for another 3 or 4 seconds. So we get some click, 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 clicks in the background. All right. Thank you so much for coming. See you soon. And for my team, we'll circle back in about a half hour to go over this. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Take care.